One of the first questions I get asked is, how am I doing for my age? The answer might surprise you. The average 60-year-old in America has over $500,000 saved for retirement. Sounds pretty solid, right? But that's not the number that actually matters. The median, meaning what the typical person your age actually has saved, is closer to $185,000. That gap is not a typo. And if you're a high income earner between 55 and 65, you need to understand what those numbers mean for you, because neither of them tell the whole story. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what the real benchmarks look like at 60, why the averages are misleading, and then give you clear moves to make whether you are ahead or behind. My name is PJ Gibbs with Trella Wealth, and this is the transition decade. The years where the decisions you make carry the most weight of your entire financial life. First, let's start with the benchmarks, because this is where most people get confused. You may have seen 401k data floating around online. Fidelity's Q4 2024 analysis shows baby boomers averaging $249,300 in their 401k. And Vanguard's How America Saves 2025 report shows that for 55 to 64, the average balance is $271,320. But the median is just $95,642. That gap is not a typo. Picture 5 people. One has saved $40,000, another $72,000, another $95,000, and another $138,000. And one has saved $1.1 million. The median is $95,000 because that's what the person in the middle actually has. But the one person with $1.1 million pulls the average all the way up to $289,000, which is remarkably close to the actual Vanguard figure of $271,320. The median is the truer picture of where most people actually stand. But those numbers only capture one account. Most people in this age group have more than that. Old 401ks from previous employers, IRAs, Roth accounts, brokerage accounts. The 401k balance alone understates the full picture. That's why the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances is a more complete benchmark. It captures total household retirement assets across every account type. And for households between ages 55 and 64, the median is $185,000. And the average is $537,560. That's nearly 3 times higher than the median, for exactly the same reason we illustrated earlier. A relatively small group of high balance savers pulls the average way up, while most households cluster much lower. The median is the truer picture of where most Americans actually stand. But what should you actually have saved by 60? Fidelity's salary-based benchmark puts the target at 8 times your annual income. If you earn $150,000 a year, that's a $1.2 million target. If you earn $200,000, you're looking at $1.6 million. For high earners in this age range, those national averages may feel irrelevant. And honestly, they kind of are. You are playing a different game. The real question is not whether you match the national average. The question is whether your savings can generate the income you need for the retirement you actually want. And that brings us to the most important point. Here's what the benchmarks miss entirely. The number in your account does not tell you whether you're ready to retire. Your spending does. Consider this hypothetical scenario. 2 people both have $1.2 million saved at age 60. One plans to spend $60,000 a year in retirement. The other needs $120,000. Same balance, completely different retirement readiness. Using a common rule of thumb, a 4% withdrawal rate on $1.2 million generates about $48,000 per year. That might work for the first person, but falls well short for the second. This is why the transition decade, ages 55 to 65, is not just about accumulation. It is about understanding what your number actually needs to be based on your specific spending, your expected Social Security benefit, any pension income you may have, and the lifestyle you are planning for. High earners face an extra wrinkle here. Your Social Security benefit will replace a smaller percentage of your pre-retirement income compared to someone who earned less. That means your personal savings carry more of the weight. So if you're watching this and you earn over $150,000 per year, the national benchmarks are not your benchmarks. So if your savings feel short of where they need to be, here's the good news. The years from 55 to 65 are actually your highest leverage window to close the gap. Move 1, maximize catch-up contributions. including the new super catch-up. If you're between 60 and 63 right now, the IRS is giving you a powerful tool under the Secure 2.0 Act. In 2026, the special age 60 to 63 super catch-up contribution limit for your 401k rises to $11,250, bringing your total possible 401k contribution to $35,750 in a single year. On top of that, the IRA catch-up limit is $1,100 in 2026. But if you're a high earner whose prior year wages exceed $150,000, your catch-up contributions may be required to go into a Roth 401k starting in 2026. Think about what that means compounded over 5 years before retirement. That is real, meaningful catch-up potential, but only if you actually use it. Move 2. Explore partial retirement or a later start date. Working even 2 to 3 years longer than planned can significantly change your retirement picture. It allows your investments more time to grow, adds to your Social Security benefit, and shortens the number of years your savings need to last. Many high earners in this age range also find they can transition to part-time consulting or project work, which keeps income flowing without all the stress of their primary career. Move 3. Do a spending reset before you retire. If you have not run a detailed projection of your retirement spending, now is the time. Many people significantly overestimate or underestimate what they will spend. Housing, healthcare, and travel often cost more than expected in the early years of retirement. Clear-eyed spending reset helps you identify the gap between what you have and what you actually need. If you are on track or ahead of the benchmarks, the goal shifts from accumulating to optimizing. This is where high earners in the transition decade often leave significant money on the table. Move 1. Start your Roth conversion strategy now. For many high earners, the years between 60 and the start of Social Security or required minimum distributions represent a rare window of lower taxable income. That is your Roth conversion sweet spot. Converting portions of your traditional IRA or pre-tax 401k into a Roth during these years can dramatically reduce your future tax burden, especially when RMDs kick in at age 73 or 75. If most of your savings is sitting in a pre-tax account, that window is exactly why account diversification matters so much in the final years before retirement. I covered this in a recent video. The idea that at some point, continuing to pour everything into a pre-tax 401k stops being the optimal move. Build up your after-tax brokerage and Roth accounts alongside your pre-tax savings gives you the flexibility to control your taxable income in retirement rather than being forced into a single withdrawal source. I'll link that video above if you want to go into deeper on that decision. The key is not to overconvert. Pay taxes at your current bracket, not a higher one. Model it out carefully before making any moves. Move 2. Build a tax-efficient withdrawal strategy. At retirement, the sequence in which you withdraw from different account types, taxable brokerage, traditional IRA, and Roth IRA, has a major impact on your lifetime tax bill. Drawing from taxable accounts first while letting tax-deferred accounts continue to grow is a strategy many high earners use effectively. But sequencing is only half the equation. Asset location, meaning which investments you hold in which account type, determines how much of your growth is exposed to taxes along the way. As a general principle, assets that generate ordinary income or frequent distributions belong in tax-deferred accounts where the income isn't taxed. Growth-oriented investments that you plan to hold long-term are generally more efficient in Roth accounts where they benefit from tax-free growth. Getting both the sequencing and the location right compounds the tax savings significantly over a 20 to 30 year retirement. The goal is to control your taxable income each year rather than letting it control you. Move 3. Get your estate plan current. If you have accumulated significant assets, an outdated beneficiary designation or absence of a trust can undermine everything you have built. The Secure Act changed the rules around inherited IRAs. Most non-spouse heirs must now distribute inherited IRA assets within 10 years, which could create a large tax burden for your children if they are in their peak earning years. Reviewing your estate plan through a retirement planning lens is not optional at this stage. Here's the bottom line. Whether you feel behind or ahead, age 60 is not the time to guess. The decisions you make in this transition decade on contributions, conversions, spending, and tax strategy will shape the retirement you actually live.